Everything you're about to hear is for entertainment purposes only. The upcoming conversations are nothing more than the ridiculous opinions of a dropout and a guy dumb enough to be friends with him. Listen, have some fun, but don't ever do, believe, or promote anything they say. They're idiots.
Guys, hold up. You should know, this ain't for everybody. Welcome to Savagely Loud. What's happening, people? Welcome back to the show. I'm glad you're back with me. I'm glad to be back with you. I'm Cliff. I'm your host, and I'm joined today and always by my friend and co-host, Mikey Wold. How are we doing today, Mikey?
I'm doing all right, man. I can't complain. It's been a good start to the week. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I have no complaints on this side of the world.
You
How about
sound
yourself?
you sound better than it was last week.
Oh yeah, yes. It's clearing up. It's good. A little bit there, but I can deal with that.
Yeah, I had
Not
some
all snotty and stiffly.
I had some reservations. I think I might have got your sickness through the microphones. I messaged you Tuesday or something where when I went home sick from work feeling like I had the flu but no nausea or nothing. And so to this day I still blame Mikey for me being sick this week. I downed a bunch of fucking NyQuil. I ain't even fucking with that anymore. I'm too old to be like, yeah, I'll just tough it out. Fuck it. No.
Nope.
Come on, Big Pharma.
Nope. Yep, that shit's for the birds, man. When you're younger, oh yeah, fuck it. All right, wait, you got what? You feel like shit? You got a fever? Yeah. All right, let's go frothin' though. You'll feel better. You can
Right.
ride it out, and you do it. And now it's just like, oh god, oh, what do you got? 99.
My bones ache.
Getting
Oh,
old
man.
sucks.
Yeah, getting old does suck. You know what? I've had this cramp in the back, like where you like it's like at the base of your skull, and it's on the right side of my neck, and it's just like, man, it felt like I slept with my head dislocated from my neck half the night, and so I'm got that going on. I took some ibuprofen again. Yay, Big Pharma! But sponsors galore as long as you say that shit, right?
All right. This segment sponsored by Tylenol.
Every segment sponsored by Pfizer. My body might as well be fucking sponsored by Pfizer at this point, because I feel like I still got the residual Dayquil or the residual NyQuil from last night. I had to take some ibuprofen for this fucking neck ache of mine because I can't focus, I can't concentrate. God, the aches just get harder and harder to take as you get older.
They do, and they don't go away. They fucking linger, man. They fucking linger.
So, guys, before we get into the content of today, let's dive into the daily drag. What you got for us for your daily drag, Mikey? Have a little giggle.
Yeah.
Maybe
Some of you
a
may
giggle.
know, and if you don't, whatever. So we have 3 kids, and
We don't. Hey, excuse me, audience. Him and I do not have 3 kids. He means
That's
we.
not
as
what
in
you said
his-
last week.
It's in his wife. Hey, pay me, motherfucker, and then we can have kids. I heard we can do that now. We can give biological birth. Oh,
shit.
circling back around. It's already
Yes,
off the
yes.
rails.
Oh, yes, it is. That's a new record for us, right from the beginning. But they're clean kids, so I got no complaints with that. The problem is that since they all take showers throughout the day, when I go to take one, half the time it's a cold shower because there's no hot water left. It's like, all right, it's warm, it'll warm up. Nope, it's getting colder. It's cold. Fuck. All right, let's just do this as quick as I can.
God damn it, Mikey. Put another water heater in your house.
I'm gonna have to.
Make friends with fucking Sleepy Joe again and have him put a
shit.
water heater in your house. And then cut him back out.
Only if it's on a Monday and it's cold outside.
Oh, man. We are such assholes. Oh, so anyway, you're getting good at taking cold showers, is what you're talking. Is what you're saying.
Yes. You got a point in time, and if you don't make that point in time, yeah, fuck it. You're either taking it way later, or yeah, it's gonna be cold.
See, and that's like I want to like step in and be like the the alpha male, like. Pfft, why don't you just tell your fucking kids that they can't take a shower within an hour of when you want to take a shower? The water, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, I've been there too. I couldn't. I wish if I had a fucking nickel for every time I went to take a shower, went upstairs to my bedroom, grabbed my towel, and had turned around, and then the door closed to the bathroom, but somebody else taking a shower, I'd be eating fucking nickel soup for dinner every night. I still don't say anything, so...
So we got 2 full baths, so it's not like that, but it's just one of those, like, I'll get in there and then like somebody else will, and it's like, God damn it.
Yeah, but you're still taking a cold shower. I mean,
Yes.
What's worse, taking a cold shower or not taking a shower until somebody else is done?
Exactly.
You're getting fucked either way.
Yes. Especially when it's like, oh yeah, we got dinner in a little bit. Like,
well, yeah,
taking it now, or
if I got plans, like I'm a huge stickler for punctuality. And so if we got plans that involve children being bathed, yeah, you motherfuckers, we got plans. We have to be there at 6 p.m. It is 1 p.m. Get the fuck in the shower.
Right. I still got to take one, but no, it happens here and there. And it's just one of those like, God damn it. And I can't bitch because it's like, all right, they're clean teenagers. Like, how many teenagers are fucking clean teenagers?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're not walking out with the grease streaks in their hair and shit. Yeah. I mean, if you're getting them to that's more than I did. I had to be told by the 5th grade teacher that I wasn't allowed to come back to school until I bathed. So, there's always that extreme too. So, and that is 100% real.
Middle ground.
Yeah. That is 100% real
with certain things.
Yeah. Yeah. The middle ground is, I'm glad I have clean teenagers. So maybe I'll just let them do their thing.
Exactly. It's like, all right, that's the lesser of 2 evils. I can take a cold shower once in a while if it means they're going to school and hanging out clean.
I love when people with a little bit of extra cash say, I don't mind taking a cold shower. Be poor for a little while. I promise you're going to get tired of taking cold showers.
Guess who didn't pay the gas bill?
Rich people like to play homeless for the weekend and call it camping.
Oh, shit. What are you taking camping? I got my RV.
Yeah, I got my $168,000 Ford Travel. That's fine. No, we can't get a Ford Travel for that. They're like $500,000 at least. But yeah, it's funny that this is the daily drag, though, because it plays right into today's topic, which is the modern father. Guys, we want to talk about the modern father today because every generation of father, well, the honest to God's truth is we screw a little bit up here and there, and then the next generation fixes that and screws something else up. And then as time goes on, we end up, I think, kind of where we're at now with damn near an entire gender of males saying that they are not that. They're not males anymore. We're not going to be doing any of that.
Yeah, it's a weird time, man.
Yeah, I never thought we would be in a place in time not even a global society, but especially in an American society that people's own mothers were fighting the fathers for the child's right to become absolutely fucking useless to the scheme of things. I mean, I know it sounds harsh, but we got to be honest about things. Like, I mean, as soon as you're not procreating, or you have an inability to procreate due to a surgery of sorts, you're now taking from the human race without contributing. Mm-hmm. And you have to step up the contribution. And that's very, very often not what we see of the younger generations, is that stepping up of the contribution. I personally would be okay with you wanting to have your own identity. You know what? It's not good for the country. It's not good for the world. It's not good for your own culture of people. But I could find a place in my mind where I could be okay with it. assuming that there was gigantic contributions being made somewhere else in the, the financial district, or, creating jobs or companies, or being a big part of the government and working with the government to, help the people. I know this is a shocking concept, but maybe you could help somebody. But typically what we see of these younger generations of men, or lack thereof, is it's a bunch of whining. It's a bunch of crying. It's a bunch of pissing and moaning about, these so-called rights that they have that nobody's taken and nobody gives a shit.
Right.
I
don't. No, go ahead.
I just don't know. There's so many places we could start. How about this? Let's boil it all the way down to the real starting point. If you want to help us out, check out our social media pages. You can find us at Savagely Loud Podcast on Instagram, where you're going to find links to me and Mikey's personal pages on there. You can find us on Facebook. You can also find us on YouTube, and you can email us in savagelyloudpodcast@gmail.com. Give us your ideas and suggestions. Like and subscribe and thumbs up and all that. And anyway, if we boiled this whole problem with, it was seamless, right? I can tell by the look on your face. Yeah. That was totally seamless.
Hey man, you did a Trump, dude. You took a laugh and you brought it back home.
We gotta weave, right? It
was a great time. It was a good time.
But no, these, let's boil it down to, I think the number one problem for modern fathers is we have an inability to stand up to society. And that's putting it nicely. But I think what it is, if we even cut it down further than that and we get to the really cold, hard truth of this, modern fathers have a problem standing up to women. And it kind of does play back to the Bill Burr comedy skit, where he was like, yeah, women are all walking around saying all this wrong shit. Nobody corrects them because we want to fuck them. If we could get it out of our heads that, our wife is going to be fucking mad and not have sex with us if we tell her we want to do something different with the boy. If we could get that out of our head, it would start a lot more conversations. You know what I mean? But yeah. Even myself, I know so many men that they want to do this, and this with their kid, with their sons. And they're like, but the wife doesn't want anything to do with it. Well, what did she say when you approached her about it? I ain't even getting to get into that.
Didn't even, yeah.
And you failed right there. I mean, I've done it. I'm not up on my on my soapbox. I've done this, this is how I learn things. Doing everything the wrong way, learning the right way to do it, unfucking the situation, and then, kind of writing down the notes. So, but what's your take on that? What do you think? If I was going to ask Mikey Wold what the real root of the problem was, what do you think you would say?
I would say they slowly made it evil to be a man.
Yeah,
and it's part of that. Yeah, all right, yeah, we want to have sex still, and yeah, okay, we got to do that in order to have sex, otherwise she'll withhold and whatever. But at the same time, I think a lot of it is that they've pussified men. They've made it shame. How dare you do that? And it's just one of those, it became, if you stand up, then you're bad. No matter what, whether it's to your wife or to another woman or whatever, to anybody. We can't stand up to kids now because the school district will do something about it.
Right.
And it's I think that is the biggest thing that's hurt us.
Well, that plays right into my belief. And it's not just my belief. It's almost a widely known fact at this point with this, with how fast and much information we have and how fast we can transition to person. It's been kind of the program for the last 50 years is to, break down the nuclear family, get the fucking get the father out of the household, because it's proven fact. Fatherless children, you can manipulate those people so easily. It's disgusting. So easily. And I'll tell you what, I'll tell you a story. I dated a girl who, she had some major, I dated a lot of chicks that had some major daddy issues, but this one was a special case. And she had lost her dad, but I'd seen the way she interacted with men. And the way she had interacted with men, especially men older than her, she almost looked at every one of them like a father. And some of them manipulated her, and it was really easy to do so. And she had no fucking idea. She just thought it was, oh, he cares about me. Like I'm because I'm the age that he could be his daughter. That doesn't matter to men. Like, and mind you, she's above 20. She's up in her 20s, legal drinking age type shit. No, I mean, it's way above that. So it's not anything weird. But yeah, she interacted with older men like everybody was her father, and she would just get enamored by these people, and it was weird to watch. It was like really weird to fucking watch.
I believe it. I haven't seen that externally. I mean, I have seen girls with that, but to like watch it like that, no, that's it's got to be weird to watch. Like,
especially when you're dating her.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every older dude that she worked with would be like, garage beers, kid. And she'd be like, I have to cancel our plans. Like, everybody's a dad to me. Yeah. Like it gets fucked up. And, and a lot of that too comes back to, just the plain out simple fact that I don't think she'd have been like that if her dad didn't fail her. Now, that's agree. Again harsh, but that her dad failed her. Mm-hmm. And when he left way too big of a fucking hole in her that should have been being filled by his time here on this planet. Yes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Filled with lessons, filled with experience, filled with wisdom, filled with, teaching her standards and who's out to hurt you and who's out to help you and that kind of stuff. But again, I mean, he was the generation before us. But so not necessarily a modern father, but I don't think necessarily a completely unmodern father, because they say the last I had heard is, people were believing that the modern father started after the hippie movement, because that's when all the peace and love thing came together. And, fathers started getting more in tune with the feelings of their children rather than they're just beating their ass all the time and making them be men, But I think what we did is we overcorrected. When we hit that time, overcorrected, and like, so we've got, like, our parents are boomers, like my dad was born in 48 and my mom was born in 52. Yeah. But they're both dead, but they had this standard of living, this method of operation through life and teaching their kids ways on, it was, it worked out. You know what? Anomaly that it worked out. It is an anomaly that it worked out, but they're fucking utter and complete failure. It worked out, but that, you don't want to be that either. You don't want to,
no,
you don't want to be you don't want to be a warning, like, you don't want to be, your whole life shouldn't be a warning to your kid. It shouldn't be, you living your life shouldn't be laying out how your kid doesn't want to, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean, and every kid, this from having multiple kids. I know this from having multiple kids. Like, dude, every kid learns differently. Like, what works for one will not work for the other. And what works for that one will not work for any other one. Like, right. It's, it is about finding that median and finding, okay, like for me, for example, like, what got me with my dad was fucking disappointment. Like, that one fucking ground me. Yeah, whatever. I'll just go smocking I'll just step outside when you go to sleep and smoke some pot, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it was the disappointment that got to me. That was the one that was like, all right. I'll learn eventually, but
yeah. Yeah, I feel you. Mine was the ass beatings. That really got to me. But
no. I guess that'll do it for anybody. Again,
no, I do see what you're saying. Like, it's so many different. There's so many different dynamics with children, and I'm glad you bring that up, because that's actually a problem, because
it is.
It's a problem in multitude because not only is it a problem that everybody learns different, so you need to teach everybody differently, but it also becomes a problem because you can't now just say every single human being ever born gets its own rule structure.
Yeah, no.
Can you imagine 10 billion rule structures? Like we have to have a certain methodology here. So where do you figure that out?
Yeah, I mean. I don't know what I was going to say, but to go back a little bit, like, they destroyed the nuclear family. And I think they did that experiment with, I hate to say it, but, the black family first. They were the first guinea pigs in that. They did damn good at it. And then they were like, okay, yeah, let's bridge it out more. Yep. Let's the black family, we did that way, but this other family, yeah, we're gonna make them evil. Like, if you're a man, especially a straight white man, and yeah, how dare you stand up and say anything?
Yeah,
you don't get an opinion.
Yeah, which is, true and unfortunate at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to breaking down the nuclear family, here's the thing: like statistically, they didn't have to work real hard on the blacks. Like they just didn't. They didn't have to work real hard on the black community because the black community has always notoriously not had fathers in the homes. And actually, to their credit, to the black community's credit, they had reached a peak of 76% of inner city black families being fatherless, and it's down to 64% right now. I checked today.
That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a step. It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. So that for me is. It's part of a community. It's a marker of a community that's healing because we don't pull any punches here. Most of the violent crime the black community is responsible for. Okay, that's just statistic fact. Now, the black community is the largest community of fatherless children. It's not a coincidence. It's just not a coincidence. When you don't have a disciplinarian in the home, because let's be honest, men don't respect women, boys don't respect their mother's discipline. My mom whipped me with the belt and I laughed my ass off. My dad even whispered in my direction and it was over. Like, I'm done. I'm trembling. So we've got this entire community of fatherless kids. And of course, they're not respecting their mothers, but, And I'm not even going to go so far as to say the mothers aren't putting in the effort because we see the videos. No, they are. Let's address the videos that we see. We see all the videos online, and I'm just as guilty as everybody else. Like, dude, yes, that happens a lot, a fucking lot, and I hashtag black culture every fucking time I see it. But this here is the problem in the black community is fatherless homes. If we could get the dads to stick around and actually teach their sons how to be men, their sons wouldn't be out there learning how to be rebels from shit piles.
Yes. They wouldn't get that father figure from the gang members or in the drug dealers and this and that. Like, and I'm gonna say I didn't know that they were down to 64. That's awesome. Like that's a huge improvement. Like that's fucking big. Yeah,
that's an 11% improvement or 12% improvement from their peak. So, that's a huge. Now, I guess it could be like, rattled off AI numbers kind of thing. You never know. Yeah. But I did the same search throughout the years, and it has basically come up with the same thing. So now we got these new numbers, and that's fucking radical. But that again, you know what? Every community's got their problems, but violence is number one. If you have a violent child that you deal with, most likely they're not being fathered. No. They're just not. Whether it's a fatherless home or a bad father or an abusive father, it's something having to do with the father. So when we look at giant numbers of people that don't have fathers, of course, they're going to be responsible for the most violent crime. Now we can move on to that though, and we can go the Hispanic community. They have a 30% of Hispanic houses don't have fathers in them. Pretty violent community. White, let's go white. White's got 20% that have fatherless homes, and whites can be pretty violent. You know, when you get
Yep.
down in especially in the South, like I go down to Tennessee, or I used to go down to Tennessee and West Tennessee. And I mean, we're talking back in the sticks, you know, out by prisons and shit, like where, I mean, the men are men and the shit are fucking nervous. That is a community of white people that most white people don't talk about, right?
Nope.
They don't talk about these people. They don't put those guys. They don't put the fucking poor white trash that are banging their fucking daughters. They don't put them in the fucking statistics, you know? No. So, I mean, again, I say this because every fucking culture has its shitty people.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I say anything about a culture that isn't white, I get fucking lit up. And not that I'm mad.
No,
but I mean, let's be honest. The whole point of the show is we have to have these conversations in order to get the information out, in order for anybody to understand anything on how to fix anything or how to deal with anything or how to tolerate anything.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, very uncomfortable.
You have to be, though. I mean, you have to get uncomfortable. I mean, everybody, no matter which way you want to slice it, every class, whatever, well, however we define those classes, they have their fucking issues. They have their shitbags. They have their problem people. And it's, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, we're not alone. We're not perfect.
Oh, no. Nobody's perfect. No.
Nope.
Nobody's definitely nobody's perfect. But now here, let's take so, you know, we've got the problem communities here in America, which are the black community, the Hispanic community, the white community. Now let's go to the Asian community, because here's a really interesting thing.
Yes.
Asian communities only have 10% fatherless homes.
Okay.
And they lead basically everything ever across the board academically.
Oh, yeah.
Technologically. And so now, can we attribute the fathers to this? Can we say, hey, you know, the black community is responsible for all the crime because they've got the least amount of fathers that stick around in the house. The Asian community is on top of things, you know, given the tech sector and all the, you know, the intellectual stuff, they're on top of things. Can we attribute that to fathers being in the home?
I mean, they have to have a part in it. I mean, I would say Asian and, you know, the Indian crowds, like, dude, they fucking own everybody academically.
Yeah. And I do believe we can attribute it to fathers being in the home. I do want to make a note that none of this is saying that, oh, you know, like moms can't raise people by themselves, because we get that shit too. Like every fucking time you say anything positive about a father, some mother goes, "What about the mom?" You know, like we're not talking about the moms. Too. We're going to talk about the moms. Shut the fuck up.
You're next.
But yeah, so if we're just going on stupid people, algorithmic numbers here, right? I can get that out. If we're just being stupid people going on the algorithm, I fucked it up again. I'm going to say that word.
Just say numbers.
No, I don't want to say it. I'm committed now. If we're going to be stupid people, then we're going to talk about algorithmic numbering.
There you go.
Then we have to say that the black community is responsible for the most crime because they have the least fathers, and the Asians are about to rule the world because they have all the fathers. You know, father and dads are staying home. I mean, like everywhere we looked, it seems like China's got their Belt and Road Initiative in place in some way or somehow, and they're infiltrating and embedding themselves in every single country, and that's about as big a fucking Asian country as you can talk about is China. So, you know, they're leading on everything. Everything.
They're violent too, so don't say they're not. Like,
I'm not saying they're not violent.
That shit's fucked up over there too. Like,
but you know what? But I think, you know what? Here's the honest to God's truth. I think let's talk about the difference in violence, because I grew up in a life of violence. When I was violent for different reasons than this guy was violent, and this guy was violent for the different reasons. But we did see a difference in our levels of violence. So. So when we were fighting the blacks, right? Black dudes, we'd be, you know, fucking, I don't know, 5-on-5, 8-on-8, 10-on-10, whatever. They fought with an anger, but they didn't have that twisted part of their brain.
Okay.
That like they just wanted to put you down and be done with this. Like they didn't want to torture you. My guys wanted to torture me, and my guys, we wanted to cut you open, and we wanted to make you watch us do it. So we had this weird, fucked up, twisted part of our brains that came out at the end of things. And I think that's from having fathers that stick around and make your motherfucking life miserable. Because you know what? I know a lot of black people. I know a lot of black men, married men. And I can tell you one thing I don't know is a lot of black married men that hit their wives. But I can tell you, I can fucking, I can spit right now and hit fucking 4 white guys that hit their wives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So when you grow up in that environment, it puts a different twist on shit. And then that violence transitions into something else. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you look at any sort of mass killing, it's done by a fucking white dude. Like,
it's not always. We're seeing a lot more
No.
blacks. The black guy was on the train. The black guy was in that building.
Oh, yeah.
He was in the trunk of that car sniping people.
Mm-hmm.
There was that black dude in McHenry, like, I don't know, a year or two ago, and by us, that was fucking laying out shells at an intersection. Like, they're starting to pull their weight. They're starting to pull their weight when it comes to the mass shootings.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: is that, and it's another show, so we're not going to get all the way into it, but. I hate to reference mass shooters because we always find out about these mass shooters that like, oh, somebody visited his house 93 times from Washington, D.C. and his apartment's been completely scrubbed professionally. There's no silverware in the place. Like we always find out later that allegedly
there's more to it.
Yeah, allegedly he was working for somebody.
You know? Yeah. No, I mean, it's one of those, like, some of these, it's just like, yeah, there's more to this story. There's a lot of stories, especially in that realm of things. And that's why I did air quotes around it, because I hate saying it. But there's a lot of those where it's like, yeah, bullshit.
Yeah. So
bullshit.
So now let's throw a little for funsies. We got all this violence going on. We've got black people are violent because their dads leave. White people are violent in a twisted, sick, fucked up way because their dads stuck around. What do we do when it comes to the Middle East? Because that's a whole different dynamic. Those fathers, and I know Middle Eastern fathers, and they admit to this, they say this shit. And I know that all the Karens are going to come out of the woodwork and say, "Oh, Islam is the religion of peace." But Muslims, I know, they teach their fucking kids that you're going to kill people one day in the name of Allah. Like, dude, that's why everybody has to have 8 kids at least, because they're trying to populate the planet. That's the whole goal. Is they want to That was where I think that was one of the best fighting tactics that the Muslims took. We're just going to overpopulate you. We're just going to breed, and we're going to overrun you. And it's working swimmingly.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is that the indoctrination happening on the parts of the fathers is, I looked, I could not find, I don't know, something about the Middle East that they just have it blanked out for some reason. But I couldn't find any statistics on the fathers, on fatherless homes and homes with fathers in them and whatnot. What I found would point to the fathers are mostly there.
Yeah, from my experience.
Rape the fuck out of every one of their fucking family members, but they're mostly there.
They're there. They're not the best role models, but yeah.
No. But here, now, when I talk to I'll be honest with you. I don't like they're friends, but they're not friends. Like I don't respect that religion. I'll be honest with you. I don't respect most religion. I don't respect any religion, really. It's all just methods of control. Now, Islam takes their methods of control to lengths that I am not okay with, like stoning women to death if they're raped.
Yeah.
Or they're gay, people are gay and they stone them to death, or when a woman gets raped, she has to have 4 of her fucking related male counterparts, say, "Oh yeah, he did it." like that's ever going to fucking happen. Like I don't think that that is I don't think that's a religion that's worth existing. But when I talk to the friends that I have that practice that religion, they do openly say, you submit or die. Like Islam is not meant to play games. Islam does not play well with other religions. Islam is meant to replace other religions, and it's much like in the Talmud, when on the Jewish side, Judaism is not meant to play well with other religions. It's meant to take over. It's meant to own them, actually, because all other people of all other religions are goyim. That's cattle. We are made to be their slaves, is what they believe. That's what they're taught in their book. So now you've got these two religions that are just like, they don't play well with any other religion.
No.
So they teach their kids this really, really, really deep indoctrination on how to fucking, that you will have to kill people. American people we might teach our kids that you might have to sometime. These people teach their kids you will have to. So you're just indoctrinated with that right out of the gate. Right out of the gate, that's what you got as a kid. Like, I'm going to have to kill people. And I wonder how that affects you when you're going through school and you're looking at everybody. You're in a school, like we went to a school. There's got to be 10,000 people in that school now. Imagine growing up in a household where you're taught that everybody around you should be your servant.
Yeah.
And what's that going to make the school dynamic like when you get to high school?
Yeah, that's going to be fuck, man. I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, it's going to make you pretty resentful. It's going to make you pretty angry. It's going to put you on a pedestal mentally that everybody doesn't know you're on. So you're going to have this cocky fucking attitude. Like, I don't play well with that shit. I just don't play well with it. Yeah. And especially when you use religion to put yourself above somebody else, you can definitely go fuck yourself. Burn your book at the stake. I didn't fucking play.
Yeah. Religion and I don't agree with it. I agree in power, but religion.
I love God, man. I love me some God. God is so responsible for all the fucking great shit in my life. But he is not the God. I don't know what God it is, because God wasn't allowed in my life growing up, in my house growing up. So I never really learned it. But I don't know. So I don't know what God he is. But I know he is not a God that would stone gay people to death. I know he's not a God that would want to fucking burn a raped woman at the stake. Like, I know he's not a God that teaches everybody that they should, teaches you that everybody should be, everybody is your cattle, is your livestock. I know he's not that God. That's not the God for me.
No, I don't think he wanted anybody to be like, yeah, I'm right, and everyone else is wrong.
Yeah,
we are the chosen. Like, no, ain't nobody chosen ones.
Right, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we're all chosen. Like, we're all that.
Yeah, if you're alive, you pretty well got chosen. You get chosen every damn day that you wake up. But given all this, excuse me, given all of this, when we look across the world, what do we do? I mean, we've got so many different countries and so many different states inside those countries, and so many villages in those states, and so many tribes in those villages all across. And I tribe I just use it as a community because, we're all tribal people. How do we fix this? Like, who's wrong? Because I do wrestle with this, okay? And I'll be honest with you, I wrestle with this, and I wonder if, let's say that Muslim that's teaching his small child, how to cut off heads off of dolls so that they know how to do it as an adult. Is he really wrong? Or are we wrong for teaching our fucking kids that life is perfect?
Yeah, I mean, life is not perfect. I think that's a failure to anybody who says that life is perfect, because that's at the second you're like, all right, I'm gonna grow up. Life does nothing but just kick you straight in the balls. It just kicks you right in the crotch. I mean, it is what it is. The first time you're like, I'm gonna grow up today, it's like, right there.
Yeah, fuck that. You ain't growing up.
I think, I don't think the, the first father is wrong because that's what he was taught and all that stuff. And I don't think I mean, he's not right, but I have a hard time saying he's wrong in that. Like,
Yeah,
I can't see. I don't like it. I don't think it's right, but I don't think he's in the wrong.
Yeah, I would fully agree with that because here's the thing. Like I myself am guilty of this, and a lot of us, all the fathers, we're guilty of it at one time or another. Kind of looking through the world, looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. We go a little, we go light. We're like dad light, sometimes, and I've had the conversations with my kids like, dude, this could all fucking end. Like, this could all go to shit right now, and your neighbor could be 9 meals away from trying to fucking kill you to feed their kid. Like, it could do that. It's not likely to.
Correct.
And that's one of the biggest distinctions is in America, it's not likely to. In the Middle East,
it could.
It's pretty fucking likely to. I mean, those motherfuckers just cannot stop bombing each other. Like we in America, like
get along.
The gangbangers cannot stop shooting each other. It's almost like Black lives don't matter. But man, in the Middle East, brown lives definitely don't matter to brown lives because they cannot lay the bombs down.
Oh no.
So I can understand to an extent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, everyone has that. I think, we got that here in the US with the gangs. You go to Mexico, they have that shit with the cartels and the gangs.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and that's their fucking life. Like, you turn on your news, all you're seeing is, oh yeah, so and so blew up this, so and so's having a civil war, so and so's this and that, and it's just like it's a whole hot mess over there.
I remember watching an episode of Anthony Bourdain. I forgot what it was. It was like if it was No Reservations or if it was something else, one of his other shows. But he was in, I want to say Beirut. I kind of want to say Baghdad too, but I think it was Beirut. And he was like, it's a beautiful country, blah, 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 blah. And then fucking boom, 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 bombs started dropping. And then and then he had to shut the show down. And then they came back and, we had to stop filming for a day or two because, the bombing started and this and that and the other thing. And, that's like a real thing. Like like you don't think I never, ever, ever am walking into the mall and wonder I wonder if a bomb dropped on this place right now. Like,
right? No,
if this place got hit by a missile right now.
Never.
So I do provide some grace because the lives that we've been shown by the world in our respective corners of the world are very, very different. In the Middle East, they're worried about, their kids are going to have to fucking grow up and fight this 10,000-year-old war. Because dude, I'm sorry, but if you're fighting a war for 10,000 years, you both suck really bad. Like you both suck. You guys, you just fucking lay down arms, stop, because that means you're breeding faster than you're killing. Like, come on, what kind of war is this? Shut them down, wipe them out, and be done. If you can't do that, then maybe y'all just cut your losses, go to your separate fucking corners.
Right.
But in America, we have a different thing that we have to live to. And that's like we have to set these standards for life in our society, and especially when it comes to daughters, we have a really large task on our hands as fathers because we set the standard for what they're going to date for the rest of their life. We set the standard for how they're going to feel respected or not for the rest of their life. So when you have a daughter, inevitably, you don't know how to handle it. Like nobody wrote a book on, everybody wrote a book on parenting and they're all fucking wrong. Like you just kind of have to figure it out for yourself. But, it's important to, like, you have to fill certain gaps in the hole that is a woman differently than you have to fill those gaps that is that hole in your son,
Oh, for sure.
when we go, and I think it's a big difference in the way we prep our children for reality and for adulthood, is because in the Middle East, they're almost one and the same in a lot of places. Like females and males are treated the same as far as that drive to, continue your race and continue your culture, and then fucking take over. And if you got to kill some people, kill some fucking people. It's not how it is in America. For all intents and purposes, women and men get raised opposite in America.
Yeah.
Women get, if you're a good dad, you're telling your daughter that she's pretty and she's special and she's useful. As long as she is, don't fucking lie to her.
Yeah.
But you're telling her all these things so that, when she goes off and starts dating, the first guy that tells her she's pretty doesn't sweep her off her feet. You're going to have to work a whole lot harder than that, brother. But our sons, on the other hand, we just damn near like chain them to a railroad tie, and they raise themselves for the first 12 years.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is completely different. It is definitely one of those, like, with girls, you almost have to show like the way you treat them is almost in a sense like how they're going to expect to get treated by somebody else. So we're instilling that, hey, this is your self-worth. This is how you should be treated. And if you're a piece of shit father, hey man, your daughter's gonna look for piece of shit people. Like, yeah. And not to say that they're, hey man, I mean, I think I think I'm a good father, but that's not to say, my children aren't gonna find some fucking frogs and assholes and shit like that. But like, it's one of those like what you're looking for and what is really going to be like, oh, this is what it's like. Yeah. That's what the father's going to instill. Here, at least. Right.
Well, and also too is, it's a lot of that has to do with proximity, and it's up to a father to instill that level of standard in his daughter. Yes. But it's also up to the father to keep her away from the shittiest people on earth. Like, I'm reminded of a friend of ours, an old friend of ours, who bought a fucking house in the third worst school district in fucking Illinois because why? He doesn't even know. But now his daughters are stuck in one of the fucking worst school districts in Illinois. And his son is through marriage, and his son was left by his biological father. And it's that kind of people now. They're in that school district, and he put them there. So you put your daughters there. So now we're in a situation, and I bring this up because that puts us in a situation now. What happens if he does the best possible job at fathering? He instills in his little girls that they are to be treated a certain way, be respected a certain way, all this other stuff. But now you're just surrounded by one group of people, which is large, that is all the same mentality, which is low. Like, you've got a low operational IQ here. I feel like no matter how much teaching you do, you cannot counteract that battle.
I'm not going to say you can't counteract it, but I will say that is a very large counteract to happen. Like, I can't say that it will ultimately end that way no matter what. But I'm saying it's a damn hard uphill battle. Like, that girl is going to have to put it in herself more than, like, all right, the father may have done that, but that's a huge leap that the daughter is going to have to take by her. Like, she's going to have to.
Yeah. I understand exactly what you're saying. And I would say this is where I stand on it. I find it impossible because here's the thing. It's the age, it's the malleability of that age. So if you were to take your daughter and teach her all the greatest teachings of a father, and then it was an employment atmosphere where she's spending 8 hours a day and she's an adult, and those people that she's employed with are the same people, same caliber of people at that school district. I think
Oh,
she would
she's
have
gonna
a
get some bad
much
habits.
well. She would still get some bad habits, but she'd have a much better chance of beating that as an adult. She'd have a much better
Oh, yeah.
chance of immersing herself in a shitty, poisonous culture and making it out fine as an adult. But when you put them there in like third grade all the way up through high school, you're surrounding them their entire life for 8 to 10 hours a day. And then they're going to come home and hang out with you for about a half an hour at dinner, and they're not going to see you again. At that age, I don't give a fuck what kind of job you've done. If you have not put them in the right atmosphere, the atmosphere, the environment is going to win. It may not win long term, like when but it's going to win up front. It's going to win for a few years because these kids go to school, and we did it too, right? We went to school, and what did we see? We saw trends, right? We saw trends had anything to do with what backpack you had, what shoes you had, what pants you wear, right down to how you spoke, the vernacular you used, the way your mannerisms, you moved. Everything was a trend. Well, when you're surrounded by the most toxic trends on earth that are now ingrained into people and who they are, and then you throw your kids at that. Oh, if they make it out, great. I mean, I don't feel like that. I don't know how they can.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle. It's definitely one of those where it's like, man, you gave your kid a hard life. And in some instances, it's like, I get some where it's like, all right, yeah, this is what you had to deal with. But there's some, i.e. the friend we're talking about, like they did that shit on purpose almost.
Yeah.
Where it was like, dude, you went in there like, I'm gonna go gambling and I'm just gonna put everything on fucking blue. Well, we're playing roulette. It's only black or red. I still won on blue. Like,
right? Yeah.
It's one of those like, dude, you did this, consciously or not, but you did this on purpose. Like you made it hard for your kid. Your decision made it hard on your kids.
And I love what you're bringing up, because the way I'm taking it is that person that wants to bet on blue in a black and red game only. They're living ideologically. They're living under the, I'm sure it's not that bad, or I'm sure it's gotten better, or I'm sure it will get better just because we're here now. That's how he's operating. But and we're all guilty of it. Like I've
oh yeah,
dude, I've been guilty of operating in an ideological mindset when it comes to my kids at different times than I ever should have. But it's all part of the learning curve. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
for sure.
To refuse to refuse to look at reality, to refuse to look at any sort of information. I mean, written information. What are the demographics of that school? What are the academic, what's the academic history of that school? How many graduates does it have? How many, to not look at a single fucking thing, but, oh, that's a cute house.
Yeah. Yeah. And in my mind, I think, I don't want to say you're a bad father, but I'll say it.
I'll say it. You're a bad father.
You are taking steps to fail your children.
Yeah.
I won't say you're a bad father, because you might have the best of intentions or whatever, but you made decisions knowingly that put your kids in a position to fail.
Yeah. You set them up for failure.
For selfish reasons. Now, we've all done it. I mean,
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
No, not
you're being nice. You have not set your kids up for failure, and nor have I.
No, I don't.
Especially not on that level.
No, not even close to that level. But what I mean is, like, we've all made decisions that were selfish in a way. Like,
True.
Financially, yeah, all right, I'm gonna go do this. I know I shouldn't. I know my kids will probably need this money, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Yeah. We've made.
We can make more money.
Decisions. Yes, exactly. Here we are 6 months later, like, fuck, I still haven't recovered from that.
Right.
But, to that extent, like, oh yeah, no, you set your kids up for failure. You know, it's there is a difference between that and like, all right, yeah, that probably wasn't the best. That wasn't the best decision I could have made for the benefit of my family and my kids. I made a selfish decision, whatever. But yeah, I mean, to that extent, no.
Well, and here's to even make it worse is, you know, let me throw some grace out there, okay? So we live by these areas that are not great.
No.
Some of these people, a lot of these people may not know it's not great when they move there.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
I'll throw some grace out there. When you come from the area,
you know it's not a good area.
You fucking know it's not a good area. And then when your best friends are all telling you, you should find a better fucking area, you know it's not the best area.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I wanted to say that, like, and it's not like nobody knew it wasn't a good school.
Right.
Like, we've known that since the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
That it wasn't a good school, and it hasn't gotten any better. Like,
no.
I mean, you went into that decision knowing it was a bad decision. Like, yeah. Like,
Now what happened? Okay, so let's hear it now. You'll see. You'll hear people, and myself included. Rogan says it. Andy Frisella says it. Ed Milet says it. All of them say it. Not to put myself on par with those guys. Obviously, I'm not. I'm nobody. But we all say the people that have been through some shit will tell you that if you really want to be somebody and you really want to accomplish some shit, the people that have been through the most shit will do it. And for the most part, I find that to be true. When you look out at the high achievers, very rarely do you find a high achiever that never went through much. Very rarely do you find a high achiever that, was, just had a perfect life and then just went on to do great things. Like very rarely do you see that. Now, that being said, putting your children through a shit life so that it hardens them is nothing that should ever be on your goal list.
No.
Like I understand tough love, that kind of shit. But moving them into a fucking school district that's going to fucking destroy them for fucking 15 years is not, that's not battle hardening your children. That's not, I don't care how much mental gymnastics you do. You can't make a training method. Like you just can't.
That's not, in my mind, that's not teaching your kids right. Like when I think of like how kids should be taught, like a lot of it is, hey man, you learn from your own mistakes. Like a lot of it is through like, being through some shit is doing some shit and learning from it. Not, oh yeah, I'm gonna drop my kids off in the fucking ocean and hope they know how to swim.
Like Susan, what's her fucking name?
That's not how you do it. Like, all right, yeah, you can throw them in a pool and be like, hey man, sink or swim, here you go. Right. And obviously you're there to jump in and save them. But like, it's different from being like, all right, we're on this cruise. Good luck.
60-foot drop to the waves, bitch.
Yeah. Let me know when you come back up and scream for somebody to throw the freaking preserver down for you. Like, no, that's completely different than what that thought process should be. Right. That's like that's a whole mentality of, all right, yeah, hey man, go figure it out. Like, you need to learn this on your own. Like, all right, yeah, your code broke down. All right, yeah, let's figure out how to do it. I'm not gonna say, all right, Dad will take care of it all the time, but that's like, yeah, what are you gonna do?
Right. You want to say Daddy will take care of it all the time. Like we do. We really do want to say Daddy will take care of it all the time. We just can't. You know what I mean?
No.
So, and that, which brings up a great segue. Let's talk about the other end of this. So we've talked about the fathers that are staying around and making their kids' lives miserable. We talked about the fathers that are teaching their kids that they're going to eventually have to grow up and kill people, even if it's untrue, and what that does to them. We've talked about the fathers that purposely set their fucking kids up for failure by moving them into shitty school districts. Let's talk about the flip side of all this. Let's talk about the negative aspects of being a quote unquote wonderful father, the quote unquote always there father, that quote unquote helicopter father or Disneyland dad. let's talk about that, because that is every bit as terrible, for your kid's future as the opposite.
They don't know how to grow up. They don't know how to live. Like, it's one of those, like, that's your 40-year-old that's living in a basement because he doesn't know what to do outside of the home. Like,
right.
I'm under my parents' care, and that's all I know. Like,
right.
That's not beneficial to anybody.
Yeah, when you're the kind of person, your kid is, you're the kind of kid that's so sheltered and so served and so catered to and so protected and sheltered, that once you hit certain, there's certain ages where you have that coming of age, when you never have that. You have them all at once, and it's usually the day you get your first apartment. And then all of a sudden, everything in the real world is after you. All of a sudden, everything in the real world is very real, and you don't know how to deal with any of it. Like, you don't know how to do your fucking laundry. You don't know how to fill your gas tank. You don't know how to cook your meals. You don't know how to even list out ingredients of what would go into something. Like, zero on how to pay bills, nothing. I think that's every bit. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, that might be worse. I got to think about this one. I think it's worse that way. If you just shelter the fuck out of your kids and don't teach them shit because you're just gonna handle everything, you end up with kids that eat nothing but chicken fingers until they're 17 and shit.
Yeah, yeah, I mean that's equally as bad as the absentee father or the bad father, because I mean, you're doing a disservice to your kid. You are. I mean, you're setting your kid up for failure because they know nothing about life,
right?
And how to deal with life. I mean, life sucks, dude. Life sucks at times.
Yeah, at times it definitely sucks. It'll fucking tear your heart out and stomp on it right in front of you. And you've got no fucking choice but to deal with it. But if you've never had to, learning how to as an adult is incredibly painful.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. When it comes to these people that they just don't do anything, the sickest part of it all is, like, those are the people that other people look at as they're growing up. Like, I wish I had that life. I was one of them, dude. I wished I had the fucking rich kids' lives, dude. I wished I did. But you know what, dude? Now that I'm 42 years old, those guys are doing nothing.
Correct.
Nothing. No. Not a fucking thing. They know shit, do shit, nothing. And I'm this, I might not be Mr. Popular. I might have a few too many hard-nosed opinions on some things. But man, do I know how to do a lot of shit. Man, do I know how to process a lot of shit mentally. Man, do I know how to handle a lot of shit emotionally. Like, I know how to handle my shit because of what I went through. And these dudes just don't to this day. Now, I do believe that they're at a certain point that is a conscious choice. Like, like at a certain point, especially you get these fucking women out here, and they're usually the ones wearing like the fur hats and shit when they're like 27. Like, never had a problem that somebody else couldn't take care of, did you? Nope. But one day, what happens? Life will bite, and life's gonna bite hard. So when you look back at things, it's like, man, growing up, I really wish I had that rich kid life. But now I'm sure glad I fucking didn't.
Oh, yeah.
That is not to say, for you gentlemen out there that got kids and you might be sitting on the fence, whether to hand them a good life or a shitty life, that is not going to be the criteria that we're going to give you to push you over the edge to give them a shitty life. Okay.
No.
So let's address. Go ahead. I want to hear what you said.
No. I was just going to say, like, you got to be there for your kids. Like, be there, but you don't need a helicopter. Like, don't be the helicopter. Be there, and make conscious decisions and choices for them. Like, you don't want to make your kid's life harder for no reason.
The way I look at it is, if you watch your kid cook something on the stove, and he turns the stove off and then goes to touch the grate, you know that fucking thing's hot. You know it's going to keep a little bit of skin off of that finger. Let him touch the fucking thing.
Yeah,
he's going to burn
tell
himself.
you it's hot. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he's gonna burn himself. Let him touch it. You most likely you've already told him it's fucking hot before. Most likely he's standing next to it so he can feel that it's hot, and he's gonna touch it anyway. Now, if you see him douse himself in gasoline, take the matches away. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to fucking. There's certain experimental things that we can go in, certain levels we don't go to. You know?
Yeah. You also don't want to make the stove hot and be like, yeah, now touch that.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
In my mind, that's putting your kids in a bad school district for selfish reasons. It's like, all right, I'm going to turn the stove on. I'm going to make sure it's good and hot, and then I'm going to make him touch it.
Just to prove that it's hot. You know?
Yeah. I know it's hot. I can see it's hot. I can feel it's hot. I wasn't gonna touch it, but now you're telling me to? What?
Yeah. But you gotta let your kids touch the fire. And I think that's, if we were gonna give advice based on our lives, I mean, we've got, our kids are all fucking grown pretty much, and not 20s, 30s grown, but yours are all starting off to college. One of mine's in college, and the other one, I don't know what he'll do, but if he goes to college, he's got 4 years. He's just going into high school. So, but we have these kids that are, and all of them have a grown-up mentality because all of them have dealt with something in their lives, with transitional parenting, and because we're both products. I don't know about products, but we both have had divorces, and we've had some really sticky situations happen with other people in our lives. So our kids are kind of battle hardened. Now, if we were going to give some advice, let's say we want to take a look out across the global landscape, and we just want to start eyeing down the fathering of each culture, and maybe, take a little bit of each one, subtract a little bit of each one, and kind of put it out there that maybe like there's this one just kind of generalized thing that we can do as fathers that will benefit our kids to benefit the world. What would you say that might be? What's your take on that?
That's a tough one, because like some it's like, dude, you need to loosen up some. Some it's like, you need to stand up some more.
Yeah.
You don't need to be the pushover.
Right.
Like, it's okay to say no, or no, this is how it's going to be, or whatever. Like, that's a hard generalization to make. I mean, I said it earlier, but all I can say, like, the best advice I can give to a new father is just be there. Like, you don't need to save them. You don't need to hurt them, but just be there, be around, be present.
Oh, you know what? I think we should make a shirt with that, but let's tweak it a little bit. Let's be there, but not on your phone.
Yes.
Be
attentive.
You
have to be present. Yes.
Be present.
Yeah, exactly. Like, be present. Ask them how their fucking day was, and literally be interested. Like, not be like, oh yeah, how was your day? Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that like that passing. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? And then nobody stops to actually exchange. Yeah.
Be present. I mean, that's all. That's the best advice I can give. Is just be present.
I would say that's pretty damn good advice. I would say being present would be the very first step in somewhat creating somewhat of a successful atmosphere to breed, or of a positive atmosphere to breed success in. You know what I mean? Me personally, I would say let them grow up.
Oh, for sure.
Every parent, we all have this tendency to look at our children as that toddler every day. We still see our kids as that toddler we love, and we need to save her or him from the corner of the table, and we need to make sure he's not drinking the bleach under the sink. We still look at our kids like these toddlers, and as they grow up, we forget that we had to grow up, and when we were doing that, we were mad at our parents for not allowing it. but yet we take on that very same role. So we
Yes.
watch our children grow up, and in fact, you and I just had a conversation about this on the course the other day, because you've got a daughter that's getting ready to go off to college, and I've got a daughter that's finishing up her sophomore year. So we talked about what it was like, being a dad in that situation, and what's it like pre-college? What's it like during the process of transitioning her to college? What's it like in the that little part
Right
after,
afterward.
And I think that's that is a whole list of places where people fuck this up, because they start getting either too clingy or they push them away. Like people, I've seen fathers get offended. Now, mind you, for anybody that doesn't know me, it sounds silly, but I've been counseling people for a long fucking time. Like, I counsel people on my own time, and we just talk. We have conversations. I give them some advice that might work, and if they take it, they take it. If they don't, it's on them. But in my talks with people, I've talked to a lot of fathers that do that. Like, they get that resentment, like, oh, I can't believe, my son or my daughter, it's just like they're getting so, excited to leave. Like, it doesn't matter to me, and this and that. And that it angers me when I see that, because you don't know what you're saying. You don't know what you're doing. You're putting yourself first again, and you need to not be on the map. You don't need to be last. You just don't need to be in the conversation. This is a conversation about a young adult flying the nest and becoming who they're supposed to become. And you, as a father, are supposed to want this. You're supposed to want them to flee and go become things, become something great. And nobody can become something great if you're still under the wing. You just can't. You can't break out. It's the same principle of, like, I've got so many fucking friends that they're involved in companies. They work for companies with their mom or their dad or their uncles. And anytime I see anything with family operating underneath family, whoever is not on the top can never reach the greatest heights of their life, because they're always held down by this La Familia thing, like the hierarchy of the family. You have to let these kids go. You have to push them off. And you had actually said the other day, it was like, just get the fuck out of the house and go do something. And I loved hearing it, because so many people aren't like that. So many people, so many fathers, they just want to keep the kids home, keep them where they, because they hide, they keep them safe. Yeah, exactly. They masquerade it as under the guise of keeping them safe, but it's really not. It's really just your insecurity not allowing them to blossom.
Yeah. I mean, don't push them away, but allow them to. You don't want to be like, go, get out of here. I mean, not to say that there may not be a time or place for that to happen.
Right.
You're like, no, you need to get the fuck out of the house. Like,
there's your fucking plate, bitch.
yeah. Go get an apartment. You're not living here anymore.
Right.
But that's when it gets to the extreme part where it's like, all right, yeah. You needed to kick that kid out of your house. He's turning into a piece of shit. But allow them to grow. Don't push them out, but let them grow. Tell them it's okay. I mean, I know when I went to school, like, I was definitely like, I can't wait to get fuck away from my parents. But, like, that's at that age. Like, you're supposed to rebel a little bit from your parents at that age. Like, if that's the reason, fine. Like, go. Yeah, I'm not going to stop you.
Well, rebelling against your parents at that age, that's part of the transition into adulthood. That's part of growing up.
You have to get to that point.
That's you subconsciously learning how to cut the cord. And sometimes sometimes it takes a little anger to do that. Sometimes it takes a little resentment, but that's you going through the process of learning how to cut the cord. When you see your kids doing that, that is your process in learning how to allow the cord to be cut. You don't have to cut the cord. You have to allow them to cut the cord. Because I always feel like kids do better when they cut the cord. Now, there are anomalies. There's always 10% on each end. So, some kids won't cut the cord unless you make them. We're not talking about those. Normal kids will always cut the cord. Normal kids tell you when they're done being under your thumb. And they don't do it. They don't do it, spitefully. They don't do it in so many words. They do it by the way they live their life. They do it by the growth in their mentality that you can see. It's almost palpable. You can feel it in the air that there's a change happening here. Once you start feeling that change, your job is to nurture that change in the great direction.
And embrace the fuck out of that change and try to guide it, but guide it subtly. Like, embrace it, but all right, yeah, maybe you should look at all this and that too. Like,
yeah, well, and what'll help a big one factor that will really, really help in this process for all fathers is to be really honest with yourself about your kid. Most fathers want to believe their kid's the greatest. Most fathers want to believe that their kid is capable of straight A's in a full honor list, all this. They're not.
No.
And by you living in a delusion that you have, delusion of grandeur that you have involving your child, you're hurting them. You're hindering their growth because you're hindering your own growth. And if you can't allow yourself to let go of these ideological fucking, viewpoints that you concocted mentally, you can't break, and they can't break away from you. So you have to look at your kid very honestly, and everybody's kids say, oh, college is coming up and everybody wants to leave. My kid's an Ivy League school. That motherfucker's a C student at best. What do you mean he's Ivy League? Well, you don't know him like I know him. Yeah, I know. I understand that. You're his dad, but he's a C student at best. And the last time I checked, Yale didn't take C students in remedial classes. So
they only take A students.
Yeah. So but that father operating as though, why didn't he get into Yale? What that's going to do is it's going to force that kid to start looking at unattainable schools that he can't get into, and then he's going to get rejection letter after rejection letter, and that's going to fuck his self-esteem up. He's, so if his father would have looked at him realistically and said, hey man, school's just not your thing. Let's look at schools that offer you things that are your thing. Or maybe we don't even look at schools. Maybe we look at careers. What's a career that you're interested in that you could get in now? And you can get into you can get in, sweeping floors and then, work your way up to this manager, or you can, you can start here being Little Miss No Respect and then eventually, become the CEO of the biggest corporation in the world. It doesn't always have to be this college thing because, well, as we're seeing now in today's society, less and less people are even wanting college. It's not even looking for it. They're not wanting it. Because the people with a degree come in and go, that's a $17 an hour job that I am going to need $32 an hour to do. And they have to keep going, fuck you, So they don't even want the college apps anymore.
Nope. I mean, there's big companies that are, i.e. Google and stuff like that, dude, they don't even look at college on your resume because they don't give a shit. They want to look at what you can do versus what you know how to do, what you were taught. Like, they want you to come in and be able to do it and not have to train you.
Well, and I to sound cocky, the motherfucking businesses want people like me. Because now I've got a lot of old managers, and most of them love me. Most of them really do. But I've told this story before, but I'll tell you again really, really quickly. When I had moved to Minnesota, I went homeless after my divorce, and because I didn't want to change my kids' lives at all. So I left everything in the house, the couches, the TVs. I didn't split shit with my wife. I grabbed a backpack full of clothes, and I left life the way it was for the kids. And I slept in my truck. When I did that, eventually I started, hooking up with this girl, and she lived in Minnesota. So I was going to move to Minnesota because it was fucking, it's better than being fucking homeless, Well, when I moved to Minnesota, I was like, I need to get a job. So I called one of my old managers, and I was like, all right, dude. And he's super honest with me. And I said, all right, dude, level with me. I'm going to go to this place. And I told him the places that I was going to go apply for a job. This place handled, I'm a body guy. I'm a body man. So this place handled over 50% of the collision work in Rochester, Minnesota. It's the number one place. I'm a number one dude. Like, you can't fuck with my work. But like my old manager, Scott, says, Berg, not fucking Beam. But Berg says, he's like, you're going to have to talk to him. You're going to have to talk to him. Whatever the fuck you got to do to get in there to talk to them, you're going to have to do that. Because if you fill out an application, it's not going to matter. They're going to throw it right in a round file because you're retarded on paper. That's the way it goes. You're just plainly retarded on paper because you're a high school dropout. You got passed through 8th grade with a 1.5 GPA because you were so bad that they wanted you out of the school. Like, you've got nothing going for you. And I was like, you know what? I think you're right. You know, so I went in there and it's like, I need to fill out an application. They handed me the application and I just started schmoozing motherfuckers. And next thing you know, the fucking production manager walks out and I start talking to him and he's looking at my, you know, I finished up my thing and my application. I handed it to him and he's looking it over and he's like, yeah, so, well, you know, I was like, you know, you ain't never seen anybody better than I am. So when do I start? You know, and I started going down that road and I got the job. Rochester Collision is where I worked. And it was the number one place in Rochester. But I got that job because I was honest with myself about who I was.
And what you would have to face in order to...
And what I would have to face in order to make things happen. If my kid was in that position, if I would have called my dad was dead by then, but if I had called my dad and if he had fed me, which he never would have, but if he fed me a bunch of bullshit, oh, you got this, man, you're the best one, you're blah, 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 and wasn't just real with me, like, you're fucking retarded on paper. That's what I needed to hear. I needed to hear that told to me. You're fucking retarded on paper. If he wouldn't have said that, you know what? And I would have gone and I wouldn't have got the job. I wouldn't have been able to fucking land a position, nothing. But because I was honest with me and I'm honest about my, you know, my kids with myself, and you're honest with yourself about your kids, our kids are bound to do magical things. Like, they're just bound to do fucking magical things. And I know that sounds like wishful dad talk, but they're gonna be they're gonna be just goddamn fine. Like, they're gonna get it, they're gonna kill it. You know, and as they do that, we also learn more about us and how we can be better in our lives so we can be better in theirs. Right? Agreed.
I mean, yeah.
So in closing, guys, don't be the kind of dad that just promotes their sons being fucking transgender and effeminate and anything but a man. And I know that sounds funny, it sounds comical, but it's really not meant to be, because men that are men,
it happens.
Yeah, men that and we're seeing it more and more every day. Men that are promoting a lack of masculinity in their sons especially are killing this fucking planet. And men that are promoting their daughters to try to become men are just compounding the problem. So if you want to be a great dad and you want to be a good father and you want to be, you know, you want to raise a person that's going to help the world be productive on one end or another, it's going to take a lot of learning on your part. It's going to take a lot of honesty on your part, you know.
It's very well. I mean, honesty is going to be a big thing. Like, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with your kids. I mean, honesty is a big thing of just being a person.
Yeah. And because we need more fathers. We need more real fathers. We need more honest fathers. We need to swing this thing back around, because, I mean, we're talking about humanity ending because all the men want to be women now. And that's only happening because men are allowing it. You know, so if your fucking kid comes home trying to fucking scream about, you know, I don't want to take any part in any fucking sort of things being productive or beneficial to the world, or, you know, being masculine or you know, whatever, then don't have it. Don't stand for it. Set the standard.
Yep. You don't have to sit down. You can stand up and say no.
You have to stand up. I think that's where people, you know, I think that might be one of the biggest problems is fathers learned that they can sit down, and it fucked everything up. Like, you don't get to sit down anymore. You're going to have to, we're all, as fathers, we're going to have to stand the fuck up. And, you know, I'll be honest with you. If we're out in public and you're not raising your fucking kid, I will. In that moment, I promise you, I'll lay the fucking smack down. I don't give a shit. If you're not going to be a father, I'm going to show you how to be one. Because I promise
go.
our kids, I promise my kids are better than yours. I fucking promise.
Mhm.
And I don't give a fuck who I'm talking to either.
I'll stand on that soapbox all day long.
So, anything to add to this right there, Mikey? Any little last words
I
about
don't
that?
have much, man. I'm just gonna say, my number one rule of being present. Your second rule of, I don't remember what it was anymore. But
Be
you're
honest about your kids with yourself.
that and let them grow up. Like you
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
Like let them grow up, embrace it. Don't take it personally when they want to leave.
Well,
It's not about you. It's about them.
and to touch on that, my daughter the other day, my daughter's never been real big into dating, but I picked her up from college and she was starting to talk, and she kind of like came out, fucking told me all about, this guy she started talking to, and she knows all about him. And in that moment, I felt like this is another marker that I've received that I did it right. She's
Yes.
not hiding it. She's upfront and honest about it. And the guy seems like a completely stand-up human being. He's on her grade level. I mean, she's in all President's Choice or fucking President's List and on Honors Society and all that shit. So, learn also on top of all this, learn to pick out the markers of that you're doing things good. Okay. So leading into the hopelessly human, learn how to pick out the markers that show you that you're doing things right also, because
Yes.
I know
Yes.
we've spent a lot of time getting down on some shit, but you also have to learn that you might not have done quite as bad a job as you might have thought.
Yeah. Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. If your kid can talk to you, hey man, you won that one. Like you won that one.
Yeah.
If your kid is comfortable with talking to you about anything, dude, you won. Like that's a huge win. Not to say you won everything, but you won that battle, and you got to take notice of that. Like you did good.
That's how I choose to look at it. Guys, if you want to give us a hand, please help us out. Check out our social media. You can find us at Savagely Loud Podcast page on Instagram. You can find links to my page, Savagely Loud, and Mikey's page, Woldy2, from that page. We're also on Facebook under the Savagely Loud Podcast title. We're also on YouTube, Savagely Loud Podcast. You can check out our videos there. They're going to get better and better. I have been spending countless amount of hours learning how to make videos, like real videos, putting them all together so that we can up the level of our stuff, our content. But again, mind you, Mikey's a very, very busy individual. He's got a full-time big job gig. He's got side gigs that are super successful. I have a full-time gig. I've got side gigs that are super successful. So we don't have all the time in the world to just concentrate on this podcast. But what we do is what we do. I might say do. But what we do well is focus our time on the time that we can put into this. We do focus that well, and we are working on getting more and more time to that. So thank you guys for following all of our social media. We're not really incredibly active on Facebook. I'll be honest with you. That's really by my choice, because fuck Facebook. Facebook sucks. All the people on Facebook are nothing but a bunch of fucking bitch-ass Karens with nothing but opinions and no information to back it up. So we get most of our traction and most of our positive interactions with our fans and our followers on Instagram. But outside of that, you can email us in at Hopelessly Human. You can email us in at savagelyloudpodcast@gmail.com. Give us your thoughts and your suggestions. Guys, we like to end every show with we like to bring this attitude back up. We've giggled in the front, we got down in the middle, and then we're going to pick it way back up at the end with a segment called Hopelessly Human. Just instill a little bit more faith in our mankind. And that segment starts a little bit like...
People can be really rough. They can be quite tough. They can get in the way, but at the end of the day, some aren't only stupid, some are hopelessly human.
Oh, for our Hopelessly Human segment, Mikey, what you got for us?
All right, so this one comes out of Idaho, and this
Idaho,
is Idaho. We are the hoes. But this is a video rental store, and like they're essentially dead. but this owner will not close up because of one person that keeps coming in who has Down syndrome. And she's been coming in for the last 15 years, if not more. She's got like severe Down syndrome, like nonverbal, like all sorts of stuff. So they dedicated a little corner of that store to her. It's Christina's Corner, and nobody can rent videos from there but her. It's all
That's
like her
awesome.
favorite movies that she's come in and rent over the last 15 years. And they have no plans of getting rid of that. No
That
plans
is-
at all.
That's fucking amazing. Yeah,
Yep.
it makes me think back to like when we were kids and how magical
dude, that
that
was the most
experience was.
magical-
Going to Blockbuster Video, or when I was growing up, going to Your Town Video, like it was such a magical experience. And then and this story hits me a little bit harder too, because my sister, as we know, is 10 years older than me and perpetually like a very slow 12-year-old. She's 100% mentally handicapped on the most legitimate way.
Yeah.
So like we would go to the video store with her, and it was like whoa, like it's even more magic. Like she would light the fuck up. So when you've got some mental things that that are operating on different wavelengths, it becomes more important, and it becomes a staple in certain people's worlds. And to have somebody out there that's willing to take the hit on it, because it is a hit. You take the hit on it.
Sure.
Just to keep that smile, that's fucking amazing. That's
It just for that one person, keep that smile going in her life.
That's as hopelessly human as it gets, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. That's the end of the show. See you later.